Hello and welcome to the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking podcast. I'm today's host, Paul Robinson. With me the guys, Graham, George and Ted. How are we, chaps?
Hello, Paul. All right, mate.
We're very well, thank you, Paul. Nice intro there.
He was better than the other bloke. So much
Hey,
better than the other bloke.
Hey, what's going on here? What's happening here?
I
just went to the toilet. I've come back. You started the show without me.
There's a takeover going on, Joe, I think.
And we got someone that's really good at it for a change.
The boys just drafted me in. What's happening here?
Bang out of order, Paul. Bang out of order. I respect you for what you've done in your career, but you bang out of order. This is my show.
I'm in charge. I'm not a grass Joe, but George said he's going to pay Paul for doing that.
Oh, fair enough. I'm Joe Amphlett. Welcome to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. This is the proper intro. Ted, Graham and George. To you. Paul Robinson, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm brilliant, mate. Thanks so much for having a little chat with us.
That's all right. It's always good to see you all, and I'll talk Millwall anytime you like.
And how's old Kenny? Is he all right?
Kenny's good. Obviously, they're top of the league, doing well, and yeah, Kenny and Joe, pretty effective duo. Those two, aren't they? They work really well together, and yeah, brought the good times to Portsmouth. Pretty similar situation to when they did at Millwall. Mate,
what would Kenny have said to you if you were playing for Millwall and you were 3-2 up at 90 minutes and you lost the game 4-3? What would Kenny have said then?
I can tell you what I would have said to him, Joe.
Do you know what, as well, we didn't have a game that day, so we were on our way back. I think we had an early kick or something, whatever, and I was watching the scores and I was thinking, finally, we never win at Norwich. And then the next thing I checked, it was 4-3. I was gutted. I thought it'd be such a big win, top of the table. I thought it'd be the ideal way to turn it around. So
see what a pundit he is. He knew no way we win at Norwich. Always the same. Oh dear. Even
once it gets to 3-3,
minute,
you know it's all over, don't you? Really?
Well, people were saying about that stat that we hadn't won there since the 60s, had we?
No.
We still haven't won this since the
60s. 50 years ago, Ted was only 21 when we last won.
I was gutted, to be fair. But it could have been just what the lads needed, really, and Chopper and the boys. But no, I think it showed a lot of good signs to go up there and score 3 goals is obviously a good thing. And like I say, you don't expect to need to score more than 3 goals to win away from home. So they'll be disappointed, but I'm sure, listen, Neil have been working them hard this past couple of weeks, and they'll be ready to go against Bolton.
Well, especially as Norwich were flying, weren't they? They was flying at the time, so to go there and play.
Was they top of the league on that particular day?
Scored some good goals as well.
Does that deflate you? Does that, as a player, would you guys all be deflated after that?
Yeah, definitely afterwards. Yeah, and for the few days after. And I think that in some ways it's tough that they haven't had a game for a few weeks, but in another way, I think that it's good that they be able to do some good hard work on the training pitch, and I think that was always my key. Get back out on the training pitch and start working towards the next game, and get it out your system.
So for a few days it affects you, and then because we've had a break of nearly 2 weeks, you sort of gradually disappears out.
And they'll just be itching to get back out there now at the weekend, ready to put that right.
The major problem is, of course, is that they're doing very well against these teams. They're actually, scoring goals at Norwich, and that very few people really do that type of thing, taking the initiative, but just not seeing it through. I mean, that must be very frustrating for a professional.
Yeah, no, it's really frustrating, and like you say, as the game goes on and you're in the lead, and I think that it's happened a couple of times, a few late goals, maybe there's just a little bit of nervousness crept in and what have you, and sometimes you can take a step backwards when you need to perhaps take a step forward. But listen, I'm sure that they know the issues that they're facing, and they'll be working hard at those and looking to have a better second half of the season. I think that if you look at last year, they didn't have a fantastic first half of the season. It was the second half when they brought in Ben Marshall and a couple of other bits and pieces that they changed that really gave them that momentum and gave us that second half of the season where I think we all dared to dream at one point, didn't we?
Let's talk about you, Paul. How are you getting on? What's going on at the moment with you? Yeah,
life's pretty good. Playing part-time at Havant at Waterlooville in the National League, so I still couldn't resist the urge to keep playing. And then I'm doing coaching with Kenny at Portsmouth, and that's sort of working towards the next part of my career, really, the transition period, and just trying to make the most of this season and leave me in good stead to next season. And
you must have a lot of interest and intent upon playing, because you must have to go to some places now that you wouldn't have done as a league professional.
Yeah, it has tested my my determination, should we say, or at times you do feel like you really have to challenge yourself to make sure that you're ready for the game, because you go to sort of grounds and any of the championship grounds or just playing at the Den, and automatically the adrenaline is buzzing and flowing, and perhaps sometimes this season it hasn't happened naturally. I've had to try and sort of really coax it out of myself, and that and the adjustment to part-time training as well. I've always been one that needed to work hard and train hard every day to get in that rhythm and get my feet moving and what have you. And I think I've kind of struggled at some points on that front, but I feel like I'm getting to grips with it now.
And what's about we keep on hearing about this tremendous talent in the lower leagues? Do you see people coming that could do a job in league football?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I see some. Yeah, it's a tough competitive league, as you can imagine, and you often see that with the teams that come up to League Two. They normally do all right out the National League. I know perhaps Macclesfield have struggled a little bit, but I think they've got their own financial issues on that front this current season. But you look at teams like Salford, the investment they've made. Obviously, Leyton Orient, really, they're a league club, aren't they? And everything apart from obviously their position in the league. And yeah, there's some big clubs and some good clubs. So it's a tough division and it's a tough one to get out of. But like I say, I'm enjoying just still being out there at 3 o'clock come Saturday.
Have you conceded any goals in injury time, Paul?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Oh, it's no good asking you what the answer is.
I've got to tell everybody, he looked like it was his fault, by the way.
Yeah. The expression on his face said it all, George.
No, not necessarily that, but yeah, no, we have done a couple of times, late on in games, and it's always tough. And yeah, but it's just one of those. It's small margins, and it's getting those details right. And like I say, it's just hard work on a training pitch, and getting those results on a Saturday.
You're looking at training. Will we be seeing you? How difficult is it to get in to be a coach, and that? How difficult is that move?
It's for me. It's a whole different ball game, really. Obviously, I've got a lot of years playing experience and tips I can pass on, especially to the centre halves. But apart from that, it's more. It's a lot different from the actual playing. You're more like a teacher, or you're more trying to coerce everything. You've almost got to second guess everything that goes on and just make sure that you're one step ahead of the game and organising everything. And also just, players can be lazy. Players can try and get away with what they can get away with. So you have to make sure that they're doing the right things and working hard as well.
You're doing a bit with Kenny, aren't you, Paul? Has he mentioned Ben to you at all? Because he seems to be flying, Ben Thompson, in the first team now. He scored the other week, didn't he?
Yeah, Ben. First few weeks was getting fit, and then once he got fit and sharp, he's been brilliant. Really, the way he gets around the pitch, and it's just giving us a real energy. And I don't want to talk too highly, and just in case he gets called back, because he's obviously doing a good job for Paul. But no, whether
Kenny would be after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but whether he's at Portsmouth or like Mill, you know what you're going to get from Ben, and he's been an excellent addition and really embraced Portsmouth and settled in really well.
So you've seen an improvement in Ben, you think, as since he's come to you guys?
Yeah, I think that he has improved actually, and I just think that playing regular football, I think, just helps you massively. Gets in that rhythm. He's certainly felt the benefit of getting fitter and playing week in, week out, and yeah, like I say, whatever happens come January, I think you'll be in a really good position. And
that's a big thing with young players, Paul. And I mean, it's difficult, and it's getting more and more difficult for him to break into first teams, no matter what level you're at. But it's important for them to get the consistency in their game by playing week in, week out.
Yeah, exactly, and make those mistakes that you're going to make and learn. And like you say, you get 100 to 150 games under your belt, and that sort of learning, that kind of, you can't really get it any other way but playing that there on a match day for 3 points. And Kenny's a great manager for him. He's play similar to the Millwall way. Portsmouth's a similar mentality to Millwall as a club as well, and so I think it's a really good fit for him. And like I said, he's done really well.
Does he know Joe and Kenny? Does he know them?
No, I knew his manager and his assistant.
No, I mean beforehand.
Who are they?
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think he just kind of missed that, really. I think he sort of...
Yeah.
He might have been there as maybe a first year YCS,
like
but I don't think that he would have had too much.
And Kenny's got a very good track record with young players, isn't he? I mean, we only have to look at the England captain when he came to us, Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good eye for a young player, Kenny, and he always has had.
Yeah, he has good eye for a player, and yeah, he does, and develops them well, works hard, and just got so much know-how. He knows what it takes to win matches. He knows how to get his team winning matches, and he's got, like I say, this track record, especially at this level, is excellent.
Why I'm saying that, Paul, is if there's a manager you'd like a young player to go and learn under, Kenny's your man, in my opinion, without a doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, there was quite a few loans that we did have as well that maybe didn't go to. But I think that's just the way it is. Really, some work out, some don't. You look at sort of maybe Craig Eastman and a couple of others, and Harry Kane was excellent for us. It didn't really happen for Ryan Mason.
But they all seemed to go on pretty well, didn't they?
Yeah,
Andros Townsend was another one that we had.
I think they were all in the England team one night, all in the same
well,
the guys
and then you happen to mention they played for Millwall.
Let's talk about Millwall because, this season again is getting worrying for us. It will be a massive step back if we get relegated because we've got to get on a momentum. We've got to try and stay in the Championship, I believe, yeah?
Yeah, it's important they do stay in the Championship. I did feel that the second season is always a tough season. I think that obviously the first year you come up with that momentum, that kind of enthusiasm for it. You had some players that perhaps hadn't tested themselves regularly at that level with the points to prove, and maybe now you feel a little bit established at this level, and also maybe those little fine margins just haven't gone their way when they need them. But as I say, I believe that they'll be fine, and Chopper will know where to put it right and what to work on, and he'd done the same last January. He made a couple of signings that just kind of took the squad and gave them that little edge that they needed to go on the run that they did. And I'm sure that he'll be looking to do the same come January. And like you say, staying in the Championship's vital because it's so tough to get there, and it's such a good division to be in, and I'm sure that they'll be fine.
I understand you're coming down for a free meal next week, is it, Paul?
That's right.
And entertaining people.
Wined and dined in style, apparently. Yeah, no.
Sausage and mash.
Is it the Birmingham game? Is it?
It is. Yeah. Try and get down when I can, and with that being moved to the Wednesday, that worked out really well for me.
What I'm interested in is what's the entertainment part. It says come and dine with Paul Robinson for an entertaining evening. So what are you doing? Is it a bit of juggling?
I'm leaving that to the players.
Paul, can I take you back to dark days? The Ian Holloway days.
Let it go, Joe.
No, I can't. I'll never forgive him. At the time, Paul, I think like most fans, were gutted to see you go and surprised, and this is no disrespect to Alan Dunn because Alan Dunn is, again, another firm favourite, but he became captain under Holloway and was kind of Holloway's man, really, and he let you go. And a lot of fans at that time were saying, well, why did we not keep hold of Paul? And why have we still got Alan? Look, I'll just be honest. We say whatever we want here. At that point, Alan was making a few mistakes, and your absence was felt quite strongly, I think. Do you think that Holloway made the wrong decision in letting you go? Do you think you could have still done a job? Could you have still been the captain at that time when Dunny was the captain?
I think that Dunny, to be fair, gave a good speech just before the end of the season. We played, and then it coincided with our and sort of
the Forest. Was that
the Forest game shook the lads up a bit, and kind of, to be fair, it kind of perked us up a bit, and then we went on a really good run, and I think that Ollie saw that as the turning point, and obviously we stayed up on the last day, and just that finish to the end of the season, I think that just put in Ollie's mind that he thought that Dunny could be the man to help him take the club forward. I felt that Ollie also just wanted to kind of shift out as many as he could to try and get in his own players, his own brand of football, and really I felt he wanted to change the whole culture of the football club, really, and you can't do that with any club, let alone Millwall. It's just got a strong identity, it's got what we believe in, and he felt he could change it or wanted to change it, and I just think once you start sort of doing that, it's always going to be a tough one for you. But in terms of obviously I still felt that I would be able to do a job, and I'd always I felt that I'd always be an important influence around the place, even if I wasn't necessarily playing. So and you'd always back yourself as a player. But then by the same token, we beat Bournemouth 1-0. I'd come on a sub after about 10 minutes, and then sort of got carried off by by some of the fans, and we'd stayed up. And in another way, in my mind, it kind of felt actually this might just be the a time to go where you've left on a kind of on a good note, and it's a moment to sign off, and you think actually rather than trying to sort of hang on and perhaps be maybe it is time to kind of move on. Not that I'd ever have chosen that to be the case.
Did you? That must have hurt you though, Paul, because I don't think you'd ever had that before, really. Had you? Basically what we're saying is that Ollie didn't fancy you and wanted to move you on, so that must have been strange, because you had been through a few managers at Millwall and you'd always been a first pick in a sense. Yeah,
I think that. Yeah, it was tough. I think early on in your career, you're not first pick, and then got to that point under Kenny especially, and felt that it brought out the best of me. But yeah, it was tough. Was really tough, and it was always going to be tough leaving Millwall at whatever point. And you know, even I spent 16 years of my life there, and even going back now, every time I go back there, it just feels like home. It just feels right, you know. Every time I go there, it just feels natural and where I'm supposed to be.
It's
all right, it was always tough to leave.
You can call Ollie what you like, because Joe's called him a lot worse. Don't worry about it.
Well, no.
The reason he never came out of the dugout at the last match was because of Joe.
Mate, that was against Norwich.
But I was always surprised, and to a credit to you, I think, that you had been with Millwall so long, and that had happened, you know, and people wouldn't know what was really going on behind the scenes. But you left really quickly, I thought. Like, you know, you didn't hang around, you didn't stagnate, sort of thing. You just went, you know. And I always thought, to your credit, that showed a great maturity. I'm not just, you know, balls because you're across the table from me. I just thought
balls,
we did.
Did
you know?
I think you are balls short.
It's probably like I say, it was always going to be tough, so it's easy to just get on. And I think that at the time, obviously, the opportunity to join Portsmouth, I didn't necessarily want to drop to League Two, but I felt that they were a good football club and a good football club to be at. So that opportunity came up, and it just felt, like I said, it just felt perhaps time to move on. And
I don't know whether we've had you on the show a few times. Have we ever asked you, what is your overriding memory of Millwall? What do you reckon, what you remember, you know, what you did or the club did, how happy you were?
Yeah, just the whole journey, really, the whole way through. Like you say, I went through some really good times and some really tough times as well.
Yeah.
Being part of, as a youngster, sort of being part of that dressing room when they got promotion from under Mark McGee, and just watching it all unfold and thinking that, like, you know, you always hope that you can be part of something like that. And then we went through some tough times in League One, didn't we? And then before Kenny turned up, and sometimes football can feel like the toughest thing ever. And then Kenny came in, sorted the club out, and, you know, being part of that kind of resurgence, and obviously that unbelievable day at Wembley. And
Strange thing about this is that there's our leading goal scorer in Neil, who's our manager now, and I can remember one goal of his at Watford, for obvious reasons, when it come back. Paul sitting here, who hardly ever scored, but I've got memories of two of his goals. Two of his goals are sticking in my head more than any of Neil's, which was the one at the...
Harris's were rubbish, weren't they?
Sorry, Neil, yeah. It was only,
do you know what? That's about the only thing I've got over him in that.
Yeah, it was all tappings, Neil, wasn't it? But no, but Paul's goal at Wembley, obviously, for the playoff final, and then obviously the semi-final goal at Millwall against Huddersfield, which I've never known down at the New Den the noise to be so loud when that went in. So I'm sorry, Neil, but I think Paul scored some better goals than you, without that.
I think, and in another way, ironically, that Huddersfield game is almost like my favourite ever game, because it was at the Den, and just like you say, the atmosphere under the lights at the Den, and just scoring that goal, capping it off, that was some night there. And yeah, that one that takes some beating.
I remember the coach turning up, and was it Clark was the manager?
Yeah,
and he was at the
Lee
front
Clark.
of the coach, you know, and they were all giving it all the boys were. And I could just see they were wilting in the coach, you know. And I don't sort of notice things like that very often, but I thought, they've had it here, they've gone.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Even that clip of him on the bench, didn't he? Was like,
Never seen a more depressed. Never seen a more depressed manager.
Was that not the game as well where you got caught in a tunnel saying a naughty word?
Don't know about that, no.
I mean, this is interesting, isn't it? We talk about Huddersfield. Huddersfield have gone on and progressed.
Yes.
And Millwall sort of struggling to get to that next level. I mean, how do you reckon that could happen, Paul? I mean, is it just sustained period in the Championship that will help to push them on?
I think that the way football is now, you know, the investment that's going in, the money available, and just some of the money that even they're spending in the Championship is frightening, isn't it? I think that a club like Millwall, like you find last season, they need to have that group that comes together, and, you know, the momentum builds, and then maybe find that one or two or three special players that can really carry forward. I mean, like that team that Neil was in with, like Reedy and players like and Timmy. These days it doesn't come along very often, and for a club like Mill, like we said, it's a big League One club. It's not one of the biggest Championship clubs, so it's got to find a way, maybe like Huddersfield did, in a way to punch above its weight for a period of time to get themselves into that promised land, which would be the Premier League. I mean, even that Huddersfield team he played, if you look at it, the players they had, like Drinkwater and Jordan Rhodes, and sort of the players, the investment that they spent to get those players, their budget was much bigger than Mill's even at that time.
I think you've got to go along the lines of the old Wimbledon when they got in the old First Division, with that team mentality that they built, a little bit like Cardiff last year, who were by no means the best footballing side in the Championship, but Neil Warnock had them all playing consistently well. We can't do it individually. We ain't going to get the special players, if you like to call them that, or whatever, the most expensive players. So it's got to be a team thing, and I think that's what Neil's all about, really.
Yeah, exactly, and harnessing that, obviously, the atmosphere at the Den, and just building that momentum, and that can take you anywhere, really. And even in, like I say, with the bigger budget, that can take you a long, long way. But it moves in cycles, and sometimes everything kind of just has to click and fall into place for that to happen.
And the other thing we're not talking about is player power now, because obviously, if a player gets a lot of kudos in the press, then he's going to start thinking, I want away from here, and they do have a lot more power these days, players, don't they?
Yeah, it's difficult, I think, for clubs to hold on to players that do well, like I say as well. That was another challenge being in the Championship. You know that clubs are going to come along with George Savile and offer lots of money and life-changing money, really, for him, and the opportunity to try. That
was a ridiculous deal for us, though.
Yeah,
Paul, I think
absolutely.
George Savile, good player that he is, isn't it? I mean, I thought there was no way on earth we could turn that amount of money down for him, to be quite honest, because he's the first one, George, I think that we've had where I can turn around and say, well, we've got a real good deal out of the money that we've sold him on for, if you know what I mean.
But how does a player feel about that? Because obviously George Savile has moved from Millwall, where he's getting a regular berth. He knows he's going to playing every week. He goes to Middlesbrough, and he's then sort of being pushed into the team, having cameo appearances. Yeah, he gets more money, but I mean, and we could look at Ben Marshall as well, who's sort of not getting in the Norwich side. I mean, what do players think about it? Do they just bet on their own abilities that they're going to get in, or what's the thought process behind making a move like that?
I think if someone's putting that investment into buying you don't feel that you're going to go somewhere to not play, if you know what I mean. So he obviously felt he was going up there to play. Obviously now he'll probably be questioning it a little bit in terms of finding it when he's not playing. But you always believe yourself. You always think that you can get in a team and you deserve to be in the team. But I guess from his point of view, from signing a 4-year contract on pretty mega money, the chance the club might go to the Premier League. He probably thinks he's actually set now.
He questions it and then looks at his pay pack at the end of the month and says, "Oh, that's all right. I've done all right."
But for me, it'd always be about playing as well.
Yeah,
and I think that now he's probably he might look to do that. You never know. He might think he'd give it a couple of months,
sure.
and then might look to get back out on that. You just don't know how it is.
I think George is a sort of character, though, that he would want to be playing week in, week out. He seems to have that sort of mentality about him, that he wants to be the best or whatever. And it must be hard for him at this moment in time, I'm sure.
Really hard, like you say, especially getting used to playing over the last few years, week in, week out, being the first name on there, and now to not be, it must be tough. But he's probably taken what's on offer and knows that he's, as long as he's not silly, he's set for life, and then now he can just concentrate on playing football wherever he would.
And of course, he'll get a nice welcome back at Millwall when he comes.
Paul, we know you've got to go and get a train, and I'm sorry the boys keep asking you questions.
He's a great man, that's why.
Yes, he is, and it's a pleasure to have you, mate. Thank you for taking the time. Thanks for starting the show for me as well as in the toilet. I appreciate that.
No worries, Joe. Anytime, and thanks a lot, lads.
Thanks,
Always good to see you.
Thank
you,
Paul.
Thank you.
Paul. Stick with us. Theo Foley is coming very shortly.
Welcome to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast question number 8, sponsored by WePrintAnyGift.com. First off, let's congratulate Richard Tomlin from Rochester on winning our last competition with the answer, Sunderland. Well done, Richard. You're brilliant. As a prize, Richard received another one of our 25-year commemorative Millwall keyrings in a velour pouch. Have we not got any other prizes? Is that the only thing we give away? More than expected got it right, so thanks for entering and better luck this time. We continue to celebrate the 25 years at the Den, Zampa Road, with the following question. Who holds the record number of sending offs for us in the past 25 years? Who holds the record number of sending offs in the last 25 years? Please send your answer to studio@noonelikesUsTalking.com. That is all in lowercase, and No One Likes Us Talking is all one word, and talking is without a G. I know we can't spell here on the No One Likes Us Talking show. Also, put podcast question in the subject of your email. The competition will close next Monday. The winner will be announced on our social media links, and we will also give the winner a shout out on the next No One Likes Us Talking show. Finally, thanks again to our sponsor, WePrintAnyGift.com. That's www.WePrintAnyGift.com. God bless and good luck.
The podcast prize this week is a copy of Theo Foley's book, Theo, Give Us a Ball, A Life in Football. And it's signed too.
No One Likes Us Talking is also sponsored by Gary at Tower Design and Print Limited.
Dean Wilson, Independent Funeral Directors at Elton, Bromley and Lock's Bottom, Reliance South East Cleaning Services covering London, Kent and Sussex, Bexley Steel, Power Industrial Estate, Slade Green Road, Erith, and North East Millwall. You can find our sponsors' details online or at our website at noOneLikesUsTalking.com. That is a talking without a G. That's noOneLikesUsTalking.com.
Welcome back to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. Me, Joe Amphlett, with the boys, Ted, Graham and George. We're going to go back many years ago now, boys, and speak to a bit of a legend. Some might call him a Charlton legend.
Not us.
Not us here. You know, respect to our neighbours, but we like to think of him as a Millwall legend. It's a pleasure now. He's got a new book out, which we're going to discuss. He was assistant manager to George Graham, of course. Very successful time in our history. It's a pleasure to welcome Theo Foley to the programme. Hello, Theo.
How are you? I'm very good. Very happy memories.
Oh, mate. It was before my time, so the boys were going to reminisce with you.
Shut up. You want to
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. But I've heard many good things.
Don't give me all that. I don't like any reference to age anymore.
Sorry.
What can I do for you?
Theo, before we go back down memory lane, I just wanted to get your reaction to the news today that Martin O'Neill's left Ireland. Are you happy about that, or do you think, where do they go next?
Left Ireland? No, I am not surprised with that. There isn't the talent there. There's no doubt about that. There is talent somewhere, but I don't know. Has Roy gone with him as well?
Roy has gone too, yeah. Mick McCarthy, former Millwall boss himself, is number one favourite and says he wants to come back.
I would think that was a good move.
You would have Mick back?
I would think that was a very good move. Mick is a very sound man. Don't make many errors. Don't make loads of friends. And doesn't slag everybody off. He did it at the wrong the last time, I'll admit that.
Fair enough.
But, Mick is very good. I rate Mick very high.
There you go. Theo Foley giving Mick his thumbs up there. Theo, let's talk about your book, brand new book that you've written with your son. What was it like going back over all these old stories? Was it a nice experience, or was it... Tell us about the experience and why you decided to write this book.
It was Paul that wanted to write the book. It was not very well, by the way. But I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I haven't remembered all the things, thank God. The ones that I don't want to remember, I've forgotten. But he's very, very good. I found it amazing, absolutely amazing, the things he wrote, and I remembered most of them. And any ones I didn't, he's added them up. I've had a great life. I mean, from a 16-year-old boy arriving at Burnley to where I am now, it takes a bit of doing.
Yeah, it does.
And what about, do you think you could manage today with all the players' egos? No. You get fed up with it, would you?
would you want to, Theo? Yeah. That's the truth of the matter.
I think there's so many people now who think they're better than they are. There are a lot of great players in there. Don't let me say there isn't. But they need an awful lot of handling, a lot more handling than the ones that when I was playing. Yeah. You only had one choice. You played in the team, you did your best, and you got on with it. It's very, very, very difficult now, I think, for managers. As soon as the players want to go, they go, and that's the bottom line. You had the same at Millwall, didn't you, with the lad who wanted to go in midfield?
We did, yeah.
He was named. Yeah, he wanted to go.
George Saville.
And then they go. Yeah.
I think in the days you're talking about, Theo, when you was playing and I played, and there was a bit more honesty in teams, if you know what I mean. I heard you just say there about people are not as good as they think they are. I think in them days we never thought we was that good. It was a case of getting on with it, and hopefully everybody else around you was doing the same thing.
Well, I thought I was very good, but that's another story.
Oh, you was a decent player, Phil. Don't take that away from you.
Decent? What decent mean? How high up the ladder is that? No, I mean, I don't think any of us were full of ourselves, even the ones who were very, very good. And I played with a few good players. But no, I think that was a problem. Now I don't think there's any problem. If they want to go, they want to go. And that's the bottom line.
Who was the best player that you ever played with, Theo?
The best player I ever played with was Cliff Holton.
All right.
Oh, right.
Do you remember Cliff Holton?
No, I don't think I do.
Well, he come from Arsenal to Northampton. He was a centre forward. He scored 37 goals by Christmas. And then...
Oh, he weren't bad then.
He decided it was too far away. No, so I played with some really good players.
Well, let's remind us. How did you get to Millwall? Just for people who you know, we're looking back now. How did you get there? What was the situation? What attracted you to the club?
George Graham.
Yeah. And that was it, really.
George came in one day and he said he's got a chance at a Millwall job. We were both at QPR. And I said, don't go down there, they'll eat you up. he said, you better come down, you're coming with me. And that's what we did. And he was marvellous. He really was. And we had a marvellous team.
Yeah, you did. Was your time at Millwall, you know, one of your most enjoyable times?
I have to say yes. Apart from the, obviously the best time was the Arsenal, and that's it. The Arsenal was unbelievable. But no, Millwall was a great club, great place to go. Once you got over the first few weeks of abuse, right.
And that first season, he had to do some emergency repairs to keep us up, didn't he?
Yeah, we certainly did.
Yeah,
that was all encouragement, not abuse. You know that, Theo. That's our way of encouraging any new manager.
I don't believe that.
that was.
You can say what you like.
The fact that you guys kept us up that season was one of the greatest achievements, I think, because we were in dire straits, weren't we? Yeah,
very poor, very, very poor. Standing was poor, morale was poor, and it needed a big lift. And Alan Thorne, although he's forgotten by a lot of people for the wrong reason, he did a lot. And then George made decisions. This is what we need. I remember his face when he said we need to buy a few players because there wasn't any money around. But that's what happened in them days. But George did a brilliant job.
I want to pick one of those players out. I think a very good player. Anton Chulikowski he's a marvellous little player.
His name is Oslakowski.
There you go, Oslakowski. There you go.
Anton was a brilliant player. I'll tell you, he was a very, very good player for us. Les de Briley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got such quality players in, didn't you? I mean, it ran all the way through, really, right from the beginning. You just kept going. You know, they're still well loved today, aren't they? So
what about?
They are indeed.
What about Ted Sheringham? I mean, he was sitting out.
Teddy was there, wasn't he? But Teddy then was just going to become a good player. But a couple of times we didn't think he was that good.
No.
When George let him go to Aldershot,
I
think that calmed him down. He was a great player. I mean, there were just some great players in that, what we were doing. But Stevie Lover was another one who came there as a fullback and ended up centre forward and scoring goals. And I don't think that was all luck. George did brilliant there. Really, really good.
And with Teddy, did it just click in the end, or what do you think made him change to get his... Because initially he looked like he was going to drift out the first team reckoning, didn't he?
No, well, he was growing up, wasn't he? And he thought it was easy, and it isn't that easy.
Yeah.
And I love Teddy. Teddy, I mean, when we went, Teddy was a superb player.
Yeah, absolutely.
We knew he was going to be a good player. But what happens then is you don't have time to wait for him to come up, especially when you're bottom of the league.
Yeah. Theo, I'll just take you back to Stevie Lovell. I mean, it always intrigues me. There was a guy who was a fullback and whatever, and a decent player. Then all of a sudden, you moved him up front, and he scored all them goals, and he looked like a born goal scorer. What did you see in him that made you think he's got to be... We'll take him from the fullback position and put him up front?
Well, he was very quick. He was a lot quicker than what people thought. He had a great strike and a good brain. And if you give him a chance, he'd shoot on sight. And a lot of times he shot in the back of the net. And that's what he did. Smashing lad, Stevie. He just worked really hard. Apparently, as a kid, he was a centre forward.
Oh, right.
And somebody played him right back. So he wasn't going in cold. In that team, everybody in that team, as I said, Les Briley was another one. Went to Aldershot, paid a lot of money for him. And we ended up buying him, but he was terrific. Absolutely brilliant. You couldn't praise him enough.
Now, Les was your sort of 9 out of 10 player every week, wasn't he, Theo?
Every single week, quite right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Theo, obviously the game's changing. Millwall are in the, just down the bottom at the moment of the Championship. How do you think, as a manager, how do you think you can progress that team? Because they're a step away. We've seen Huddersfield do it. They're a step away from the Premier League if they keep in the Championship. What do you think needs to be done to get that team going forward?
You need to plug the holes that are there, and if you can do that, you do well. The hardest bit is when one of your best players is took out and sold, and that is a difficult time because you're still playing games. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they will. I hope they do. Maybe that's blinding me a bit because I always look to see how they do, as you know. And Sean, my boy, is a big Millwall fan, goes every home game. And
is there, with your vast knowledge, do you think you can pluck players out of League One, League Two, and make a player of them in the Championship, or is it too big a step up?
Oh yeah, you can make a player of them if you work with them hard every single day that you're in there, and show them what it should be done and how it should be done, and just pray that it comes off. If you're not that good, ring George Graham.
Yeah. Now, we talked about it. What a terrible calamity happened to us. We were 3-2 up in Norwich, and then we lost 4-3 in the last couple of minutes, a couple of goals in the last minutes. As a manager, you're tempted to put on defenders, but maybe putting a little bit of pace or something in attack might be the answer, yeah?
That's called good management and plugging the holes.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the bottom line of it. If you're a really good manager, Neil is, maybe he made a mistake there, but I find that a lot of managers now, they don't know what to do by holding on, and a lot of players don't know what to do with holding on.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And it seems that if you're giving the team, the attacking team, the whole of the pitch, and you're trying to defend your penalty area, 9 times out of 10, they'll get the lucky deflection that will set one of their players free, won't it?
It's actually inviting them to come on to you, and once they come on to you, they've got a chance of scoring.
Yeah.
But if you go the other way, close the door and don't open it under any circumstances until it gets certain that you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Theo, you've got a nice evening coming up Friday, actually, with a couple of people you've been mentioning, Les and Stevie Lovell and Terry Brisley. And I believe George is going along as well, isn't it, at Badgers?
George is going along, yeah. He loves South East London. You only got to ask him the best way to South East London because I haven't got a clue.
But that should be nice.
Right? Where is the elephant? That was his favourite with me. Where is the elephant? No, he's great. He's coming along. He wants to come along and help me out. It'll be good, I hope, anyway.
It'd be nice to see the guys again.
Yeah,
it's great to get people there.
And Theo,
it's strange these boys from North London are not able to handle South East London.
True.
And Theo, with Christmas coming up, the perfect present would be your book. I would imagine, wouldn't it? Theo, give us a ball.
Recommend it to everybody.
Theo,
recommend it to everybody. Give them a few to Father Christmas.
Absolutely. Just so people can go out and buy this book. It's called Theo, Give Us a Ball, A Life in Football. It's published by Apex. It's Apex Publishing. It's out now. It's a perfect stocking filler, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfect for everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I won't give you the answer to how to make a Christmas pudding or I'll give you all the other things, how to drink beer or whiskey or whatever, and then read the book. No, it's a very good book. My boy's done absolutely marvellous job.
Give your boy our best, and we was hoping to speak to Paul today, and we know he's not doing too well. He's very unwell, but give him our best, mate. We really mean that, and congratulations on the book, and we hope it does well, and we hope you can sell a few copies for Christmas, Theo. We appreciate you coming on, mate.
Thanks, Theo.
Thank you very much, lads.
Thank you.
Thank you, Theo.
Cheers, Theo.
Bit of a legend there. Theo Foley speaking to us on the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. Go out and get his book, Theo, Give Us a Ball. A Life in Football is published by Apex Publishing. It's out now. No excuses, Millwall fans.
It's easy to brush over the achievement that Theo had down at Millwall, and obviously he went on to Arsenal with massive things with George, but at the time they come to us, Joe, we was in dire straits. I mean, I know it was a bit before your time, but these boys here tell you, we was in a desperate situation, even worse than Ian Holloway left us in.
Oh, my God.
I didn't want to mention that name, but
that's how well they did. Yeah,
but they turned it round in the season, halfway through the season, wasn't it? And they actually, by the end of the season, I'm sure we'll speak to all the fans, we had a side to be proud of.
We had Stride, Cusack came in, didn't he?
Dave Cusack, Anton Tulakowski.
Who else did we get? Did Dean White come in as well? I think Dean White came in.
One time he did.
Yeah. Stevie Lovell was the main goal scorer, and that was an act of genius. A right back going forward and put him centre forward, and he just couldn't stop scoring. It was unbelievable.
George is giving you the cutthroat sign, Ted, which means
no.
He thinks we're still live on the radio. It's a podcast.
What's the matter with him?
What's the rush, George?
Got all the time in the world.
Our thanks to Theo, and our best wishes to Paul, his son. We will be back shortly with some grumpy old men, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast question number 8, sponsored by WePrintAnyGift.com. First off, let's congratulate Richard Tomlin from Rochester on winning our last competition with the answer, Sunderland. Well done, Richard. You're brilliant. As a prize, Richard received another one of our 25-year commemorative Millwall keyrings in a velour pouch. Have we not got any other prizes? Is that the only thing we give away? More than expected got it right, so thanks for entering and better luck this time. We continue to celebrate the 25 years at the Den, Zampa Road, with the following question. Who holds the record number of sending-offs for us in the past 25 years? Who holds the record number of sending-offs in the last 25 years? Please send your answer to studio@noonelikesustalking.com. That is all in lowercase, and No One Likes Us Talking is all one word, and talking is without a G. I know we can't spell here on the No One Likes Us Talking show. Also, put podcast question in the subject of your email. The competition will close next Monday. The winner will be announced on our social media links, and we will also give the winner a shout out on the next No One Likes Us Talking show. Finally, thanks again to our sponsor, WePrintAnyGift.com. That's www.WePrintAnyGift.com. God bless and good luck.
The podcast prize this week is a copy of Theo Foley's book, Theo, Give Us a Ball, A Life in Football. And it's signed too. No One Likes Us Talking is also sponsored by Gary at Tower Design and Print Limited, Dean Wilson, Independent Funeral Directors at Elton, Bromley and Lock's Bottom, Reliance South East Cleaning Services covering London, Kent and Sussex, Bexley Steel, Power Industrial Estate, Slade Green Road, Erith, and North East Millwall. You can find our sponsors' details online or at our website at noonelikesustalking.com. That is a talking without a G. That's noonelikesustalking.com.
Welcome back to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast with me, Joe Amphlett, and of course...
Frightened the life out of me there.
What?
God, George just had a heart attack when you started off there, Joe.
I was a bit loud, or what?
Yeah. It's a bit loud, I was asleep, I think.
I'm afraid to say I ain't woke Graham up, but never mind.
He's still in his slumber.
Yeah, that's all right. Graham, I'm better that way.
Graham, you there?
Yeah, I'm there, mate. I'm all there and halfway back.
Is there anybody
back,
there?
Don't you worry about that.
Good.
You can hear you snoring, can't you?
Our thanks to Theo Foley and, of course, Paul Robinson as well. This is the time of the programme where we ask the grumpy old men in the studio to get something off their chest. And this week, there's no one more grumpy than George Lampy. So we're going to start with you, George. It's grumpy old men time. tell me, George, what's been getting your goat, you old goat?
Right, a couple of things, and the first one isn't mine, it's Eamon's, so he's brought it up, and I think we should let him have his little say here. He writes that it's good to hear about the club making progress regarding the stadium and sorting it all out Premiership status wise with renewal, and of course the wider regeneration of the area. But Adam is making the point that he hopes there's going to be consultation with us, the supporters, because he believes, and I think this is a good idea, that the supporters may bring some good ideas to the old
arena.
Plan. Yeah, so I think that's a good one, Eamon. Millwall have been talking about this new architects and all the Premiership. They're going to try and make the stadium fit round. So let's see if that works.
All shrouded in secrecy, isn't it? Really, at the moment in time. I mean, we talk about being a Premier League side and enlarging the ground. I hope we don't get left with a white elephant. To be a Premier League side, you've got to have a significant investment in the team as well. Not just build your ground big, and that's from a little bit worry as well. From
a position when you're fourth from bottom in the league is not maybe the best time to do it. But who knows? That might be.
All I see at the moment is that there's going to be extension of the ground. There's going to be some recladding. That's what we've been told. We're all working lovely with renewal. We've had various people on in Lions Live, our former guys, with renewal that seems to suggest they were brilliant people and going to help us out. Well, let's see what happens now. But I reckon that we ought to have an income-earning asset put on the land rather than just enlarge the ground. I'd like to see us get a hotel, something that we can actually benefit from in the long run, like Sheffield United did with their regeneration.
Would you stay in the hotel,
feed the
Graham?
Huh?
Would you stay in the hotel?
I would stay in the hotel. Yeah, I'll stay in the hotel. I get Swedish models down, and it would be lovely.
Down to the hotel.
Right, my second point.
No, hold on. I want to know more about the Swedish models.
So do I.
I'll tell you what, George, Joe, that'd be more like a care home if he was staying in there.
That's very true.
Right, the second point is carrying on from the Canal Road, the parking problems that I mentioned last time, or the lack of what's gone on since then. We still have the opportunities break-ins now on match days at nights and daytime matches. So maybe people should be highlighting that problem and looking at that. And once again, I say to Lewisham and to Millwall, come on, there should be some official parking that we would pay for, but it was secure, and we could park there thinking our cars are not going to be broken into on match days.
Right, George, I think you're right. You when you're on the old MSC, you try to get this, didn't you, of various areas. You did a study of where we could park. I want to know what our new supporters club is doing about this. I mean, there are severe problems. People are getting their cars broken into. People are actually being deprived of spaces they used to have. I need some action on this because that's a fans issue, isn't it?
Well, could we not get someone on from the Millwall Supporters Club the next show and let them?
Well, it'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Have their reply?
I'd love to talk to them.
Would you?
And as I say,
put it out there if you're listening.
When the plans were there 25 years ago, there wasn't much going on regarding our parking facilities. Well, 25 years later, maybe with these new plans, you can incorporate that in. And I would just like to say that anything that you hear on this show, you can contact the show at noonelikesUstalking@gmail.com. That's just the NOLU talking@gmail.com, and give us your views at any time, guys. All right, I'm going to leave it now to the other best looking boys.
No, I think that's very valid though, George, because a lot of people used to park down Surrey Canal Road, and that's all gone now. And there's not a lot of space around the ground anyway. And if always, with the plans that we've seen from years ago, that what was expected to be happening down at the Den, there'd probably be even less. But they do need to remember that supporters do come in cars, and there needs to be some sort of spaces for them to go in.
And that's not only Lewisham, that's Millwall and all, actually. Millwall need to look at this and all,
Yeah.
And we go to lots of places, Ted, where there are opportunities to park all round the ground.
I know part of the answer of it's difficult because there's not the ground around there or no land. I'm not sure that they've done as much as they possibly could about finding somewhere like that. I'm sure, if the word goes out, people might help us out. But the point is, it is not only about people that pay corporate money to go into Millwall football ground and they get a parking space and, for these people that can pay at the top end of going to football. there's lots of other people around. Let's see if there's something that you can do for them.
Yeah. Okay. Graham.
Graham.
Are you awake?
Graham, hello. Graham.
I'm awake, yes.
Sake.
But I'm on my usual old tub thumping. Beautiful, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about.
Swedish models on your mind again.
What I'm talking.
It's not a pretty sight when he's thumping his tub.
I'm not going to go down there. I could say something there, but I'm not going to.
Graham, you weren't here for the last show. How did your exam go?
Well, I've got stitched up again, mate, as I normally do in life.
Don't start him on that.
Don't start me on that. That's about 5 chapters long, mate. But never mind.
All right.
He's failed his 75-year plus.
Yeah,
that's what he's done.
Got to get another MOT. Now, listen, what I'm going to say to you, no, I'm not ever going to retire, mate. It's never going to happen.
Okay, go on.
Don't worry. I want to partner up with my old mate Steve Cameron. No, I didn't say that either, did I? So anyway, let me say to you that... at the end of this Norwich game, and I know Ted's going to go on and talk about the specific substitutions we made there. Here again, our manager talks about we're only a small club in this league.
You hate that, Graham, don't you?
I hate it. And 2 reasons why I hate it, all right? The first reason is that it belittles the club. Well, there's 3 reasons, actually. It belittles the club.
No, hold on, there's another reason.
There's another reason. Come up as I'm speaking. Bit of tub thumping did that. And it belittles the club. No one's interested in whether we regard us as small. We are a component of the championship, so we must push on as a component of the championship. Second reason is, we look at George Saville, he says that we were now a stepping stone to greatness, so the players get in their minds that, we're struggling here, we're only a little club and all that type of stuff. And the third major reason is that when we try to go and buy a player from a team in a lower division or whatever, the fans get emotional, they put a little bit of pressure on the director saying, well, why would we want to sell him to Millwall? Because Millwall are only a small club after all. Let's forget about the small club thing. Let's move on. I'm not interested. We lost at Norwich because we lost a game. Nothing to do with being a small club. And I'm getting fed up with it, really. And, don't hold out a lot of hope when our ethos is we're only a small club, punching above our weight, getting nowhere. Let's hear a little bit of masculinity. We're the Lions, after all. Let's push up that league like we did last Christmas. There's not a lot of great teams in there, I can tell you that, and I'd like to see us get a more aggressive, people don't like using that word with Millwall, but more aggressive attitude of really putting these teams to the sword. Don't talk about small club.
Two things guaranteed listening to this podcast is Joe will tell you that he hates Ian Holloway, and Graham hates the fact that we're
it's an important
a small
situation.
Club.
I've given you 3 reasons.
I'm surprised you didn't fly across that table at Robbo when he said punching above his weight.
I stood on his foot. That's why he pulled out.
See, Graham, you're often punching below your weight. That's the difference.
I am, I suppose so. But the thing about
it's a high way up to be punching above it.
But the thing about it is that I've learned in life, if you talk yourself down, you don't get anywhere. That's why I'm going to stay around and just say wonderful things about Millwall Football Club for years to come. There you go.
Very true, Graham. Very true.
Thank you very much.
Have you, Ted?
No, I've got a general one, Joe. This is the whole football league. This is really, or the FA, or whoever's in charge. I am sick to death at the end of a football match of teams wasting time by making substitutions. Now, I think you shouldn't be allowed to make a substitution after 85 minutes of the game.
Interesting.
In other words, at 85 minutes, nobody can make a sub, whether they're injured or not. That is it. For the last 5 minutes of normal 90, plus the injury time, which it drives me crackers even more, it's not necessary. They're doing it for no other reason than to waste time. And at the end of the day, we pay our money to see a football match. Don't pay any money to see people coming on and off the pitch. We pay to see a football match. And I've got to be honest, I know why Millwall do it. They do it like everybody else does it. But that doesn't make it right. Get rid of it. Say after 85 minutes, no more substitutions.
And you said don't know nothing about football.
Let me say 2 things. You get the health and safety brigade onto you there. If somebody's sort of trying to wander around with a broken leg. It's a bit bad news, mate.
It was hard luck.
And the other thing is, the more important thing is, why don't referees step down on goalkeepers at time waste? And we've had this discussion before. I mean, some of these balls. I read statistics. You know, the ball's only in play about 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's very true.
And people are, you're paying money for that. What do you think about that?
The two things. First one about the broken leg, right? We can change it. A substitution can be made if the physio or doctor says it's right. In other words, there's proof that a guy broke his leg or something like that. Secondly, the goalkeeping issue. I don't know who on earth come up with a rule about you can put the ball wherever you like, goes behind the goal kick in a 6-yard box. Go back to the old way. It goes on the side that the ball goes off. In other words, if it goes off to the right of the goal, he takes it from that side of the 6-yard box. That'll stop goalkeepers from running over, picking the ball up, taking a slow stroll to the other side of the 6-yard box and kicking it out there.
Yeah,
there
you
go.
Point,
It's too
simple.
But actually, we've suffered from this time wasting. I mean, I can't remember when Romeo was time wasting, and then we were time wasting certainly at the end of Norwich. Yeah. I don't know the ethos in a professional player's mind. I know it's talking about game management, and you want to slow the game down, but you don't keep on doing it because someone's going to add the time on it.
Exactly right, Graham. The other thing, what happens is that all of a sudden you're in the referee's hands, and he dictates of how long he wants to carry on going for, and half the time he doesn't play the 4 or 5 minutes that he says he's going to play.
He plays 8.
He plays 8.
Yeah.
But half of that 8, at least half of it, the ball's not anywhere near the pitch. So
good point, Ted. Good point.
There you go.
Well, you are grumpy though, all of you. You've got to chill out, man.
If you want to email us, no one likes us talking at gmail.com, guys.
I'm going to write with that idea to the FA with that 85 minutes too.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll give you the time of day, Ted.
I wish I knew where they was.
Where are they?
Andy Ambler. He's the man. He's communications officer.
Still at Wembley. Yeah.
Mr. Ambler, you're listening. Give me a call.
Yeah. Andy, if you're listening, hello.
Hello, mate. Yeah.
It's time for emails, guys. Now, we've had some complaints because last time I was doing some silly voices and I've been told by George never to do it again.
They was too lifelike, Joe.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Especially the lady. Who was it?
Emma.
Emma, yeah.
I tell you what, I'll make a compromise. I'll do every other person's email in a normal voice, but I will do Emma's voice in Emma's how I
let Emma know that you're doing it. Only she started looking around, she thought she could hear her voice coming back to her.
Of course she did. Yeah, no, I'll let Emma. When we get to your email, I'll save you two last. I'll do your voice. This is from Black Cab Rob.
Hey, Rob. Hey.
Joe, if I can just tell you what...
Oh, no. More time wasted.
You just had your bit with the
No, I know, but I'm just letting everybody know what we asked the question for this week, and it was with the January window coming along, who do you think we should reinforce with, or if you don't think we should, then let us know why. So that's the question.
George. Yes, no, very well done there, George, coming in.
Thank you.
He's like Corporal Jones of the Dead's Army, isn't he? You start and
he's annoyed me for about 10 years now. This is Black Cab Rob. He says, we need a striker if Bradshaw is unfit. That's a no-brainer. Other than that, we've good players of our own playing for other teams. So bring back Fred and Tomo. That's Black Cab.
Good
Rob.
point. What type of striker though, Black Cab Rob? Because is it a target man, a strong target man we need, or is it somebody with a bit of pace? That's what I want to know. That's
someone with a bit of pace.
You reckon so? We don't need a strong target man.
It has to be someone. I think it covers both options. Has to be fairly tall, but has to have pace. Because
Lionel Messi. Well, yeah, I don't know where we got all those options there.
We don't need Messi. Messi's only about 4'9".
I think Tom was a ready-made replacement for Lee Gregory if anything happened there, and unfortunately he's out for the season. So I think we're a bit short if anything does happen to Lee. So I would be going for someone similar to Tom, but or you bring Fred back.
Tom was a replacement for Steve.
No.
What about Tom Elliott? What about Tom Elliott?
Tom Elliott for Steve Morrison.
You're talking about Brenton. Sorry.
Is Tom Elliott
confused, didn't you, George?
He's
on the same programme now.
Is Tom Elliott cutting it for you? Because he ain't cutting it for some fans.
I think he's doing a job. Yeah, I don't think he's. I don't think he's looked out of place the last few games. He's putting himself around. He's doing what a big centre forward's supposed to do. He scored against Norwich. He led the line well. I
think the defenders are the problem at the moment. I don't
well,
think it's
we don't seem to have problems scoring, Joe.
No.
It's conceding that the problem is, which is strange. But we're slowly but surely getting back to our back four for the end of last season, where we was not conceding goals. So let's hope they start performing.
Look at Jules still thinking he's in charge, telling him to speed up.
That's because he don't know where he is. He don't know what he's doing.
All right, this is from Ron. He says. This may sound a bit.
Come on, Joe.
This may sound a bit drastic, but I think we need strengthening through the core. That means a striker, a midfield defensive player, and a central defender. The last position may seem a bit controversial, but just look and see where the goals have come from against us, and most have been from poor defensive marking. All the best. Thank you, Ron.
I think you have to give Hutch a little bit more time. Sean Hutchinson was our man of the season last year. He's had a bad injury earlier in the season. He's just come back. He's only had a few games. He's looked a little bit rusty. He doesn't look the player that he was at the end of last season. I'm not knocking him for that, but I think he will get there, and I think they will come on strong from here on in.
Interested in the defensive midfield player, because one of the things that's aggravated me, another moan, here you go, is that when we have a player just outside the penalty area and he's jostling for a shot, a certain player who I got into trouble with in the past, he actually just lays down sometimes. Stones did it for the goal against the other evening against Croatia. You know, if the centre-half doesn't keep up, there's no point in just diving in and sitting on the floor so that the guy just chips it over you. There's a situation where, you know, you've got to stand up and you've got to defend. And I think that defensive midfield player probably is needed, I think.
I think Ron's exactly right, actually. I believe that we need a forward, a pacey, big forward, and I also believe that we need a very strong midfield player.
Was this a rumour of the Hoff coming back? Was there any truth in that? Was that just a horrible rumour?
That was a horrible rumour. Someone gave me a heart attack, son. He said we'd signed him.
Sleep tonight now.
I prefer David Hasselhoff.
He got around a pitch much better, I think.
Yeah, that's another nightmare reminder of Ian Holloway, isn't it? This is Rip. Good name.
Rip?
Yeah, an old Rip, I imagine. After watching, he is old, or her, I don't know. After watching for over 30 years, I've realised if we want bigger ambitions and to play in the Premier League, let alone the Championship, we need a ball. Sorry, God's sake, I need to read these before I read them out. We need a ball to splash the cash more than before this season started, and a manager that isn't one-dimensional. Ooh, he's having a go at Neil. Long ball to Morrison to flick on. How can we play two strikers that score? That can't score and are not prolific? We need two Championship strikers and someone else at the helm. Rip is calling for Neil Harris's head, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he can rip off as far as I'm concerned. I don't know.
Hey, don't have a go at Rip. He's taking the time to send an email.
I nearly said something else.
Don't have a go at Rip.
No, look.
He's entitled to his opinion,
of course he is.
and he is a little bit correct about how we play. It is pretty predictable and one-dimensional.
Yeah, and if you remember, Joe, I've always said we need a plan B, and I think they've tried to work out a plan B, but at the moment we're still effective doing what we're doing. We've this season, although we've fall from bottom, there's been times in the year when we played it probably as best as I think we can, but we're not getting the results. I get that, but that's mainly because we're not defending as well as we was last year. Otherwise, if we had defended as well as we did last year with the goals that we've scored, we'd be in where we was at the end of last season.
Can we have a quick straw poll? Right?
Can he jack it?
No, you can ignore that question then, Graham.
Well, what's the straw? What's that then? Go on.
I wanted to just say a quick straw poll. Harris in or out?
God. In
all day long. You know, Harris is doing a really good job.
I'm interested.
You've got to bear in mind, Joe, that we have lost at the end of games possibly about 15 or 16 points this season, which is incredible. Now, you might be able to, not everybody can just lay the blame on Neil. The players have to take responsibility.
They do.
Take them 15 or 16 points, we would be at the opposite end of the table.
Yes.
The only thing is, Joe, the only person who's out of work at the moment is Holloway, so if Neil went, we'd have him back.
Let me just say, Kenny Jackett tried to change our style of play. He wanted us to play through midfield, It didn't work. He said at the time that we were, blame the fans, we were a bit too impatient, we can't stand the build-up. The way forward might be, if you look at the way people are playing these days, the way forward might be to play through midfield. Now, I'm very interested in the question that Rip, isn't it? As he said, yeah. I'm very interested because I see that Neil Harris is trying to do things on a shoestring budget. I think we've got to realise, it goes back to all my comments I made, we've got to realise, as a board, if we want to progress, we're going to have to put some money in. That's it. It's sad to say it. We've had balls throughout the years, but if we want to go down and lose fan base and not be, because a horrendous season back in League One, if we want to do that, then that's fine. I don't know.
I think they might come back and hit you with the fact they've spent £1 million on Ryan Leonard and £1 million
but you've got to keep on
Tom Bradshaw.
You've got to keep on doing that.
But hold on, what you have to do is play to the strengths of the players that you've got. There's no point in having Steve Morrison or Tom Elliott on the pitch if you're not going to knock the ball long to him there. We tried to play with Lee Gregory and Tom Bradshaw at QPR, and we was awful because we were still playing as if we had Tom Elliott or Steve Morrison up front. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to change your way, you have to change it completely.
The thing about it is, what we've always said is that we've got no leaders on the pitch. So that might be coming the point you're making. If somebody sees that we're changing formation, when Morrison came on at QPR, we significantly improved. Now, what we got to do is we have got to find some leaders on the pitch, and to me, that's going to cost us money. And in the long run, if we're talking about the ground and all that, and getting up and all that, we got to bite the bullet and actually spend some money on the squad.
Yeah, I agree with you, Graham. And I think this is Mark Kay now. This is going to be we've covered a lot of this anyway, but he says he doesn't want any more names in this season. He says.
What does he say, Joe?
This is what he says, right? Which doesn't make sense, even though I'm not making sense either. No more no names like last season. That was a joke, Cahill. Does that make sense to you? He's saying basically that Cahill signing was a bit of a joke, and I think it was a bit of a.
Well, we didn't see inside the dressing room. I think Tim Cahill made a massive
influence. I think
inside.
What else you say, Joe?
All right. He also says we will go down because they are tight. Bleep bleep upstairs. I think he's saying we can swear on this show, can't we, George?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you can swear when you like, Joe.
What do you reckon he was saying? What do you reckon he bleeped out there then?
I think. The word begin with B and UG, yeah?
Buggers?
Yeah, there. I mean,
you don't have to bleep out buggers, not on this show.
Was it not? Oh, okay.
Anything else you're saying there, Joe?
Yeah, it is saying something else, George, if you let me get to it. God's sake. So he's saying they're tight buggers upstairs in that so-called ballroom. Splash some cash on quality strikers and someone to accompany Leonard in midfield. We continuously lose it there, and that's what other teams realise. And I think we've covered a lot of that already with what Graham said. Yeah. But thanks, Mark, for your email.
Yeah,
and this is the last email of the show because we're just about to go for a pint. This is Emma.
Hey,
Emma, and I'm going to do Emma's voice if that's all right as a compromise. All right. Hello, it's Emma here. If there are good amounts of money available, then as good as Bradshaw that we can find, probably a loan. Also another striker to challenge Elliott for a starting berth. And please take Morrison into a coaching role. We love him, but we want him here for long-term helping the team.
For a teenage girl, she's got a voice of an 80-year-old, really, isn't she?
Emma, I've heard you. And that's
if I ever met him, I'd just know straight away, hello, darling, I know you are.
I think,
darling, you all.
I think she's got a few points, really, to be honest with you. I quite like that. I think I might go and visit Emma after the show.
What was it? I forgot what thing she said.
She's not Swedish, though, Graham.
Oh, what a shame. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, she's basically saying everything else everyone else has said. Everyone's moaning because we're not doing very well. But listen, last year we didn't win away until February against Leeds, and then we nearly got promoted.
Well, bottom line, Joe, the sole answer will not be throwing money at it. Let me put it that way. I mean, you can look at Ryan Leonard's come in for £1 million, and he seems to be like he's going to be a fixture for the rest of the season to me.
Yeah.
We spent £1 million on Tom Bradshaw, who was waiting for his opportunity, and now we've lost him for a year. So the £1 million's been sort of wasted for this season in that sense. It's not always about money. We've had it in the past, as we've said many times on here. The more money we've spent on players at Millwall, they tend to be flops. So it's about spending the right money on the right players.
Final thought from Graham, and then we're going to go.
You have said to me, and we've all said, that we need Neil Harris as manager still. Now, Neil Harris, I hope, will be given the ability to target There's no point in actually sort of saying, we'll bring this player in, we'll bring that player in. We need to target our investment because he knows. I honestly do feel there's something wrong with the midfield still. I think, I like that midfield, defensive midfield player. I think he doesn't do us any harm. But to think that he's actually having to operate on a shoestring budget, I'm sure Neil Harris wouldn't want to operate on a shoestring budget.
No,
and with Bradshaw gone now, this is the result because we've got to fight up to in the new year with a weakened forward line. I honestly do feel that, Neil could target the resource. He's got the understanding of what we need, and I hope he's allowed to spend.
Well, let's hope so. One player I would like to come back, Joe, just before we finish. I'd like to see Ben Marshall back.
Well, there's a controversial comment.
Put
that
Ben
is
Marshall
a controversial
back.
comment. I don't want him anywhere near the club. If he doesn't want to choose us, then he can go away.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he won't be so successful the second time.
Well, if you got Ben Marshall in, that would allow Aidan O'Brien to go and play where he does for Ireland, which is down the middle.
Yeah, and he did well last year, really.
There you go.
Yeah, he didn't get a goal though, did he?
Can I just, change the subject a little bit here and just say that we were talking to Theo, wasn't we, early on about his book on Friday night? And if anybody would like to go to that evening, if they would like to ring Dean on 07740 600 270 and you contact Dean, he will have tickets available for the evening.
Where is it?
And it's on Friday night.
It's at Badgers Sports Club in Eltham.
Which is actual Greenwich Borough.
What's the starting time?
7:30.
7:30.
Are you going, George?
I am indeed.
Meet the George, another celebrity there.
Cool, that'd be great.
George Graham's going, by all accounts. Terry Brisley, Steve Lovell,
and I love Terry Brisley. You're too young for Terry Brisley.
I'm too young, George. Yeah.
Don't get George Lammy mixed up with George Graham. Could be.
I think Emma's going, Joe.
Is she?
She may well.
Then I'll be there.
I might as well.
Oh, yeah, I won't be there. Boys, nice to see you. Let's hope we can get a win soon, away from home. That would be nice.
2 wins.
It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Bolton and Birmingham.
They've got to beat Bolton.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't let them fiddle any points.
Let's hope everybody's happy.
That game, that's a disaster.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Anyway, thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon. We'll have a December show for you for Christmas, so you can listen while you're eating your turkey. But that's next month. Enjoy the game on Saturday. We'll see you soon.
Look after yourselves.
See you later. God bless.
Bye.